The hustle is real, everyone. So today, everyone, starting on working again on the. I gotta sneeze. So today, everyone, I'm starting working on the E30. Basically, we gotta change the water pump, the thermostat, and one of the bushing. Not bushes. One of the rubber O-rings that's connected to the radiator, that's leaking, that's connected to the cooling system for the automatic gearbox. So I'm gonna basically, whoops, snap, don't want to lose that. That's the receipt. So I'm gonna be doing all of that right now. As you guys know from before, still overheating, still has that issue. So want to get that fixed ASAP. I know I have plans to change the engine in the future, but I still want to enjoy the car over summer. So that's the reason why I need to get that done ASAP. I said ASAP too many times then. So we might as well get started on this now and start removing all the bits and pieces that we can. And then, see how it goes. What else can we do? So basically here is everything. We've got the two auxiliary belts. I'm guessing that's for the alternator or something. Basically the two in there. I don't know which one's which because I can't remember which size is which one. Thermostat to go into the thermostat housing. In here is the water pump. This is one of the pipes going to the engine, one of the oil like breather pipes. This is the little washer that I need to change on the radiator part. This is the engine cover because I just wanted to have a look inside the valves. That is the exhaust bushing. That's a spare one that I bought just to keep it, just in case of anything in the future. So that's all the parts right now that I'm going to be installing, and we might as well start taking everything apart now. So first things first, jack up the car. Why are we jacking it up? Well, when we drain the coolant, we gotta get something under there. So coolant drain on this car is just there, a little screw bit, I think. So I'm gonna put the container under that, or the whatever the thing's called, so you can catch the coolant as it comes out. Just throwing out my disclaimer. Don't always follow me. This is how I'm doing my car and everything like that, but you don't have to do it this way. That's down to you. Now, I like to work with as much space as I can get, so what I'm going to do right now is actually remove the fan clutch again, just because I can. It's simple, it's easy for me, I've got the tools and everything, and it should be fairly looser than it would normally be if it was still stuck on there. You might be able to get away with removing the thermostat and the water pump without changing it. I haven't done the research into it, and neither have I tried. I am just going to try it this way now for me. Probably worth you doing the same if it is a lot easier. So it's just something to keep in mind while I'm showing you guys what I'm doing. So that's the fan shroud and fan clutch removed, which didn't take long at all. So now that I've got all that off, I have so much more space to work on the car. So there's a thermostat housing, and I believe, where is it? That there, by the way, is the reason why I am changing that breather pipe. It is incredibly dirty there. It's not too bad on that side from what I can see, but yeah, it's worth changing. It's a good time to change it. So people, how to remove these belts is quite simple. Take this off. Unbolt that, so that will let the alternator move around, and there's just the pulley mechanism just over there behind this belt. You can just see it there. You basically loosen that bolt, I think it is, just over there where the finger is, and that will allow you to move that around. That just basically loosens up everything and allows you to get enough slack into it all and move around the belts. Now what I'm going to do now is I should record how much slack it has in there at the moment, just so I have bit of a reference. So that's got about 1 centimeters worth. It's got about 1.5 to 2. But that's it. That's basically how to remove those two. So I'm just gonna get on with that now. Just so you all know, by the way, when undoing this bolt, basically that's like got teeth that go into the bracket. You have to undo the back nut, which is a 13mm, to get that one off, and the bottom one as well, I believe, is a 13mm, which is what I'm going to tackle next. So yeah, if I put the 19 on here, you'll see this pulley moving. That basically brings it back out. I'm trying to do right now is actually push it back in, and that's that. And that should be enough. So we need to get some, yeah, there we go. That's the first belt off. Doesn't look too bad, but since I'm here, might as well get to replacing that. This one's already kind of been done, so I just got to take the belt off. Right, I might need to do that one a bit more. Oh, quick little thing, when loosening these up, this bolt and the 13mm over there, don't loosen them up too much. You want it to keep its form and shape when rotating on the bigger nuts, but I mean the bigger bolts, sorry, with the teeth on, but you still want to be able to move it all around nicely. So it's only like 2 turns, I would say, of loosening it, and that should be enough to be able to do everything properly. That's my 2 old belts off. Leave them on the side. Now we got to start trying to remove the actual water pump and thermostat. How that's done is on the thermostat housing here, you got the bolts just over there. I think there's 3 if I remember correctly. 1 there, 2 and 3. And on the water pump, you gotta take off the 4 bolts for the pulley just there, and behind that you got a few other bolts, and I think they're all 10mm now, or they might be 12. I'm pretty sure they're 10. And once you remove those, you'll be able to basically remove the water pump out. Actually taken off most of the bolts for the thermostat, and I'm not gonna lie, the thermostat feels at the moment quite hollow to me, which you might think sounds a bit weird to say. Oh wait, no, there's a thermostat. So there was a thermostat in there, which is good news. That looks okay. Let's take the thermostat out. Maybe it was working fine, I'm not too sure. But like I said, since I'm here, might as well change it. Now what I'm going to do is kind of a bit more crazier than normal. Now my water pump is actually stuck on there quite nicely. So what I'm going to try and do is put something else onto it and hit this nicely. Just to basically get the water pump moving. All 4 bolts have been removed. I was just checking that there was only 4 bolts. Now I'm going to look to see which one's going to be better to use. Might be this one. So this is going to be a bit more interesting than I hoped it would be. Going to see what happens with that. As you guys can probably tell, I'm not hitting it that hard with the hammer right now. Bloody hell, this is on there tight. Real nice and tight. So what I'm going to do now is, there's an actual spot where you can put one of the bolts from the water pump into the actual frame of it all, the actual housing for the water pump. This allows the water pump to break loose, I believe, from the actual body of the, well, the actual block of the engine. I'm just going to try that now. I think that one's a bit too short. Nice and slowly. And I think what's happened is the actual housing started to break. So I'm just going to take that bolt back out now, because that didn't go to plan. I'm going to carry on playing around with the camera off, just because that way I can take my time and try and figure out what's the best way to do it, aka hammer time. But no, I'm going to try and avoid the hammer for as long as I can. But in the meantime, I'm going to try and see what I can do to get this out. So, one way to go. I'm going to see how it goes. This is not fun, because you don't want to break the engine that you're trying to survive with until you get an engine swap. It's like, obviously normally you're not,
the engine.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a pain. I've got these two here. So I'm going to try and like, people, we might be able to take it off now. We've been able to play around with it a little.
So,
yeah.
I'm actually talking to.
My name is Jeff. Oh, hold on.
No, I wish I was talking to.
Man, don't be so mean. You know what? I'm gonna try and wedge it in. So people, we managed to break a little bit of it off with those two bolt areas that you can sometimes think it through. You know what we need right now?
Peanut butter jelly?
No. Electrolytes. Comment below if you know where electrolytes are from. Oh, snap. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Whoa. We got it off. People, we got it off.
Yep.
And the good thing is, it doesn't look like there's any oil mixed in with the water. Which people, you should, oh snap, you should know, if oil is mixed with the water, it means the head gasket is gone. So it's a good thing that that hasn't gone. Now, gonna clean everything up and look at fitting in the new stuff. So I'm so happy we got this off now. Oh, and there you go, that's the bit that we like cracked off. I'll show you guys closer up there. So everybody, that's now all off. I'm gonna assess the area now just to make sure everything's clean and okay. I just noticed on the water pump some of the actual blade areas is a little bit damaged, so I find that a bit weird. It's like it's almost like hit something. I don't know what. It could have been us right now. Again, that's not something I can prove right now or anything, so what I might end up having to do is actually doing a coolant flush just to make sure I get everything out of its system. The good thing is, you know, at the moment I got the extra coolant and everything like that, so it should be alright. I accidentally spilled some on the floor. Oops. But the bucket basically couldn't get exactly into place. It's not completely my fault. Just saying. But yeah. Glad we got that off. So let's go and check out the areas. So that's where the water pump goes, and that's where the thermostat goes. So I'm just gonna get a dry rag and just try and clear up as much as I can. Shouldn't be using any form of substance or anything on there, because that's not good. So now's a good time for me to actually replace this little washer here. Gonna see exactly where it goes. In fact, instead of losing it, I'm gonna leave it in there. Close that back up. I feel as though it might be inside of there somewhere. See, I can't actually find the O-ring there. which kind of says to me that it's either perished completely or something's happened to it. So instead of worrying about it too much, I'm going to put the O-ring in there now, and hopefully that will repair that. Now I used a 7/8 wrench on that to get that loose, so I'm just going to put my glove back on, even though my hands are dirty. Right, I'm going to call it a day there. I think that's going to be tight enough now. That's that bit done, which is awesome. That's the one that I was kind of skeptical of will it go to pan or not, because there's nothing really online anywhere about how to remove that apart from just finding out what it is. So I've cleaned everything else up here. So yeah, I've cleaned everything else up inside of the two housings. I'm just going to clean out the actual housings for the thermostat. Just going to clear out the insides to make sure it's as clean as I can get it. And yeah, that's it, because I'm reusing the old thermostat housing because the new one didn't come with that, and gonna get it all fitted on nicely. So let me go clean that up. Let's get on with the comparisons. So this one is the old one and this is the new one. Now I have noticed something while looking at the old one and the new one. I'm gonna try and show you guys now. You see this? You see this whole middle column? It's straight. Can you see that? Can you see what's happened there? I think that's the part that went on the car. That wasn't working properly, and that was what was causing my overheating. So, awesome. It's got my hand dirty. Yeah, that's good enough. So, I'm going to put this on like this now. And I believe this just sits in here like this. I don't think it matters which way it goes on. And that's going to sit inside of the engine now. It's nice and stiff as well. It's not closing very easily. So that's going to be good. New part, always best thing to do. The housing is just housing, so it's good. I think it's metal. I think so. So we're going to get that fitted on first. Whoop. Yep, got that now. Ready to go on. And I think what might be good actually instead is to first try and fit that into place. There you go. Thermostat is on. Up next, let's go compare the water pumps together. So as I mentioned before, this is what I was on about with the old water pump. Oh, gonna make the tripod fall over then. Don't know if you can see it just there. There's one. Second one just there. That one's a bit of a weird shape. Weird shape. Weird shapes. You see? These three here are bad. That one's not as bad. Better. Yeah. So I think something's gone on over here as well, which has caused that to have some issues. Looks like there was something that went across here. Not sure if that's how it's supposed to be, but not sure why that little tab there is there. But that's the old one. These are the bits that basically you should be able to put a bolt through here and a bolt through the other one, and then if you start bolting it, it will equally bring it all out. But they basically become weak, and as you can see, because this was on so tight, they just start bending off instead, and that's the end result from that. So taking all that off, here is the new one. Take off this little thing. In fact, we'll leave that on there for now. Yeah, clean up my hand a little. Just make sure I get the O-ring on there. That'll do. Again, this engine's just for now. It's all about to change. Although I am starting to fall in love with how easy and fun it is to work on this engine. We'll see how it goes. So back to working on this. It's a matter of sliding this into place. Ooh, the rubber gasket is starting to already be a pain to me. Okay, happy days. So now the water pump is on. It's time to fit on the oh, I need 2 hands. Now the next part, now that I've got the pulley on, is to get the belts on. So start from around the water pump down to the hub. Now I've got to rotate the lovely thing there. My 19mm again. I think it was. Just bring the alternator all the way up as high as it will go. I shouldn't be putting too much pressure on the mouth, that's for sure. So you have to remember the belt, the new belt is a lot tighter than the old one. So it's got a lot less flex on it. It's all nice and tight now. Okay, grab this back. Don't want that to be on loose, so I'm going to tighten that back up. So now that the pipes are all back together, this looks like it's been in a fight before, so I'll probably get a new one of these eventually. Actually, I might actually leave it, because I think when I go for the engine swap, I'm going to go for a different style setup and go for an electrical one. But for the time being, to make sure it's on properly. You guys will realise how much cardio this is. Constantly walking backwards and forwards, around and around the car. I'm gonna see if I can fit this through. Nope, I'm gonna have to fit it through the bottom again. I basically slide it through the bottom and then grab it all the way up. Hopefully it'll be nice and simple. I don't think it will be this time. Oh, nope. We managed to get that bit up. There we go. Whew. That was harder than most of the other bits that I've done. Nice and tight. Tight as it needs to be. Oh my god, I think I'm done. I honestly can't believe I've managed to get everything that I wanted to do on the car done on the same day. You know, I honestly can't explain it. It's pretty awesome. So that was water pump, thermostat, that little washer, the breather pipe, all changed. I think it's taken me 4 hours in total, and that was with the water pump being very hard to take off. So I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with the way everything's gone down today. Now I just need to make sure it's gone down properly. So, gotta fill it up with some water now. Check all the system, make sure there's no leaks, and make sure that it's not overheating anymore. So, for now, I'm actually gonna just fill it up with water, clear the system through a few times, just to make sure there's nothing rubbish in there. And then just take it from there. So, let's see how it goes. So, you'll notice that my top has changed. Is because the last one got a bit wet when I got underneath the car to check everything. But everything looks okay now. Filled it all up with water. It's time for me to give it the first start, and let's hope that nothing's gone wrong. There's no further leaks. I can see. That's just from me filling up the water, I think. Woo-wee! Right, let's hope that it doesn't overheat now. So let's leave it on for a little bit. So at the moment, everyone, I've got a lot of air in the system. So what I've actually done is, if it focuses, I've taken off the bleeder valve area and just letting all the hot air come out of there. So while it's still getting up to operating temperature, I'm just gonna, yeah, it's coming out nice and hot straight away, which is good. Good. So I don't know if it's coming out nicely, but you can see the smoke coming through. Ideally, you want that to keep coming through until you make sure that the temperature stays dead center. It went up just now, it went down after I saw a splurt of water coming out, and I'm hoping that that will happen again. Holding it 2000 RPM at some points just to get it forcing everything through. See, temperature's gone down again. Some water is coming through. Just gonna turn the car off now. Let that calm down a little. You can hear. And look at that, guys. I've actually increased the revs and it's keeping lower in temperature. That's good news. So now the bleed valve is back on. It's still actually not pouring out any water, which means there still might be some air in the system. One way to know if a car's still got air in the system or not is because you have the heating on full, everything facing towards you, so it's like bringing out all the hot air through the system. As soon as your heating in the car starts giving out hot air, it means that the water started circulating to the heater core. So that's good. That means the air is getting flushed out of the system now, and you know, we're just gonna take it from there now. This is good news. So what you do is you have the heating on max, temperature, well, hold on, temperature on max, heating all the way so it's open, and that should be on full as well. I've actually got the car on trickle charge just so then it doesn't drain the battery out. And then what you do is you fill up the coolant in there. You leave both of them open so it allows everything to come through. And then as you fill that up, you basically want to keep filling until water comes out of the bleed valve or the bleed hole or whatever you want to call it. Now that at the moment, I'll show you. How I look to see is how much is filled is if I put the light on, you can see the, if it focuses. So there you go, that's roughly where it is right now. It's at that point. Now I'm gonna keep filling up until that basically goes down to the middle. I'll turn that off. So eventually the water should end up here at the midway line, and at that point that will have water coming out of it. Now the reason why it's not doing that at the moment is because the cooling system's got air in it. So by having this air system on there, the water goes all the way through to the heater core. So that's basically keeping the water circulating a little, and at the same time I'm actually pumping the pipes, not this side, but actually the other side. So I'm pumping this pipe up, and at the moment it's quite empty. I can't feel much water in there, but forcing the air out, forcing the water through everywhere. And that's basically, I think, how you get the cooling system bled. Keywords being I think, because I have yet to see the results from this. So let's see how it goes. As you guys can see, it's all fluctuating constantly. It's not even a constant stream of water. Look, there you go. Air's still coming out. Still coming out. So I'm actually now, the car's gone up to the temperature that it was running at, normal operating temperature. I'm letting the car cool down overnight, or at least for a few hours. Just gonna let the whole system cool down, and I'm gonna check the coolant system to see what level it's at, and then we'll take it from there tomorrow. So I've changed the radiator cap with a new one I got from BMW, and I'm hoping that that stops the coolant leaking out of the radiator cap. What I've noticed is after I've done all the changes, whenever the car gets to operating temperature, coolant starts coming out from the radiator cap area and it just drizzles down, which is a bit annoying because then that means the cooler is basically leaking out, and then I need to fill it up again, bleed it all, blah 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 blah. It's basically a pain. What I think has happened is because I've redone the coolant system, that washer was changed, all the water pump thermostat was changed. It's obviously repressurized the coolant system to a perfect seal in my mind, as long as the head gasket hasn't gone. So I'm going to see if this works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, most likely means I'm getting a leak from the head gasket. But there's no smoke, there's no residue in the engine bay at all. It's not engine bay, in the what's it called again, in the oil. So I don't think it's that, but things like this can always surprise you. So we're gonna find out one way or another. Car's getting warmed up right now, so let's see what happens. Well, it's looking good so far. No leaks coming through at all, and it's actually coming up to temperature nice and slowly. So everything I think is working nicely. So no leaks, no nothing. That little cap, £16, brand new from BMW, was all that it took for me to have 3 days worth of stress. Thinking, oh my god, my head gasket's gone, blah 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 blah. Just literally had to figure out what it could be. That's all it was. So I think a quick test drive is in order now, so I'm actually going to get the car ready and take it out for a drive. Hope you guys enjoyed the vlog, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. So a better place to come to test drive the car than to BMW. Look at them three behind there. The car looks good in my opinion. What do you guys think? These three look so good, and then you got the other M3 over there. It's a bit of a shame that the 1 Series is blocking that off. But look at that. That's it, time to jump back into the car, make our way home, and relax.